Welcome back. In this lesson, we will discuss choosing colors for a stabile sculpture. Today in class, I'd like you to think of the following concepts. Number one is unity, and the second idea is emphasis. Okay? Unity is using some kind of element to tie the whole work of art together. It could be also called harmony. All right? Here in this photograph, you can see that these curves that are in the architectural work here tie this whole composition together, this whole line of these arches. The kind of repetition of those arches hold the whole composition together and create a feeling of unity. On the other hand, emphasis is kind of the opposite idea, using some kind of element to draw attention to one part of the work. Okay, so if we look at this artwork here, what's the first thing that stands out to you? Yes, this red circle. Even though we've got incredible pattern and really eye-drawing repetition here of these circles, this one particular circle is the one you're going to look at first because it's red. And that red circle creates the emphasis for that picture. Now, in this picture, we're talking about Rouge Triumphant, one of Alexander's larger works. And you can see how he's painted all of the different parts of his mobile black, except for this one red piece here. Okay, and this one red piece is going to command a lot of attention because it's red. It's kind of a reddish orange in this photograph, but it is red. And these ones here are going to command a little less emphasis, but however, all of the piece together is flowing really nicely, not only because of the beautiful balance that he's achieved, but also because of the color choice to paint everything black. Okay, now my sculpture looks piddly next to the Rouge Triumphant by Alexander Calder, but as an example of what you're going to do today, you are going to paint all pieces of your sculpture, front and back. You're going to paint the main stable piece here. You're going to paint the stabilizing bar that's in the back holding it together, and the 5 pieces that are hanging in balance. I'd like you to choose an A color, which we'll call your unity color. In mine, I chose black. You can choose whatever color you want as long as it's consistent and it does create the unity for your sculpture. On the other hand, you're going to choose a B color, which will be your emphasis color. Here in my example, I chose red. You may again choose any color that you'd like, but try to have that color truly make emphasis in your picture. Now, here's a couple different color schemes that you could work with. You could use a monochromatic scheme, you know, making different tints or shades of a various color. This is going to give your sculpture you know, a gentle, calm feel. You could use analogous colors, which are colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. And even though you'll create emphasis by just having that one color, your analogous colors are going to be very pleasing and calming, nice, and they'll look really nice together. Or you can choose a complementary, which is going to give you the highest amount of contrast to your emphasis. So let's say you've got a blue A color for your unity, and you choose like an orange B color for your emphasis. That orange color will stand out a lot more against the blue. You could also think on the scales of warm and cool. Maybe you want, you know, 2 of the warm colors together. Maybe you want 2 of the cool colors together. That would be another way to do it. So as for painting, you know, here in the video, I take my paint and just use one of the larger brushes in class and simply paint over the entire sculpture. Now, as you do this, be careful of the weaker parts of your sculpture, you know, where you made your slotted pieces or where you've got like small points or ends on your sculpture, and just be very careful in the sense of painting it nicely, painting it neatly, and of course this is on fast forward so that it doesn't take quite as long. But you'll use good brush control, pulling your brush. You should have your empty water cup, your clean water cup, your personal water cup, your palette paper with your paper towel on top, and the large brush most likely. Unless you're working on a little teeny piece, then maybe a smaller brush. Okay, try not to get the paint on your hands, and I would suggest just laying it on the table and painting it that way. So you'll cover one side completely the first time. You might have to let it dry, which I had to do in my video. I needed to let the front side dry as I painted the other pieces, and then I came back and painted the other side after the first side was dry. All right. Now here again, as I start to paint these small pieces. I get all the way up to the end piece. Here's the middle piece and that last piece. And then here on the end piece, I'm just going to paint the outside rim of it and use the red on the inside exposed corrugated piece here. All right. As I do that, I do switch brushes so it's smaller, and of course I didn't wait for my paint to dry, so some of the black gets in there and makes it a little darker than I would have hoped. But that being said, I let these pieces dry now, and I move on to painting the back here. All right, and I start painting the back side. This is of course flipped over. You can kind of see the stabilizing piece back here, and I simply paint the opposite side and paint it nice and thick so that you can't see. And then I do end up painting the little exposed edges here so that they appear more dark. In the video I didn't take as much time as I could have to touch my brush inside of the corrugation, but I'd like you to make sure that all parts of your sculpture are painted very well. Alright, and here's the finishing of my stabilizing piece, and then moving on to my hanging pieces. I paint the outside first, hoping that it will dry a little while I'm painting these other pieces, so that when I get over to my red at the end, it'll be a little bit more red. I take those last pieces and paint the final pieces on, and then paint my red piece to end with. So in the final end game of this sculpture, I'd like every piece of it painted. I'd like your unity color to be clear and your emphasis color to be clear as well. So if we go back to my final example here, you'll see that I have my stabilizing pieces all black. I have my one piece here that's red for my emphasis. So again, choosing your colors, focusing on unity and emphasis. Unity to tie your whole work of art together, and emphasis to draw the work, or to the eye, to one part of the work.